I'm running off. So in other words, as HR, I've said this, don't let us go too grammatical. Very easy. If those things are not in our policy, let's see how we can convince our management to include it and begin to do it. In other words, in some textbooks, what is that role? What is that thing that HR will help the organization to do? And that is what we call employee value proposition. And as such, it has to align with the organizational vision, mission, core value, you know, all this. And that is why most of the organization we mentioned yesterday, why they are so heavy on all those things is because they have built it, they see it, that thing, the kind of the social corporate responsibility they are doing really feed into their vision or mission or core value. So in other words, as our role is critical in helping our organization to build this, and you can see it. And this is my final thought on it. So I say the HR professional and business leaders across the board, today we have all agreed that when we are talking about developing a strong organization branding, is very key, is a critical success factor in attracting and retaining top talent in any organization. Because we all know the cost of recruitment. You won't want to be recruiting people every day and people are leaving. Before we start this discussion, I was having a chat with Mr. Tope, and I let him to understand that, look, the effect of those that jackpot in 2-3 years' time, we'll be feeling it in organization because the organization have really spent so much in training those people. The time we need them the critical stage in which we need them, they are no longer there. So we have to start afresh. So as your organization, I know that you won't want to be like that you'll just be attracting and you are not retaining your top talent. So one of the best things you can do is to really work and how you see that your organization brand will help you to attract, retain, develop, and will encourage your staff to be more productive so that you'll be able to meet your financial goals. Thank you very much. I've come to the end of my presentation. So comment, question, contribution is welcome.
Wow, thank you so much, Mr. Oluremi. Thank you so much. That's a very lovely presentation. So guys, can we acknowledge and appreciate Mr. Oluremi for that presentation? Drop your appreciation note in the chat box. And if you have any question, you can raise up your hand. We'll call on you and then unmute your mic and answer your question. Any question? Okay. Wow, this is very, very prompt. Like,
Olaoluwa.
okay, Olaoluwa raised his hand. Awujola. Okay, go ahead, Olaoluwa.
Akorede Daniel too.
All right, thank you so much for the
Okay, so
subject matter. About it. These things that we've discussed.
Yeah, somebody is talking.
Yeah, I think his network is not too good. It's breaking. So Olaoluwa Awujola, if you could please put your question in the chat.
Yes.
Go ahead. I think it's better.
Yes, Olaoluwa, you can go ahead.
Hello?
Yes. Okay, can we have Jonathan?
So Olaoluwa, you can drop your question in the chat box, please. Drop your question in the chat box. We'll read it out.
Okay, Divine. Can Divine go with a question?
Okay, thank you so much, sir, thank you so much for today's presentation. I learned a lot. So my question is that in a situation whereby, you know, like in an organization, you're an employee and you know that some things are not working well, like maybe the work-life balance is not okay, and it's not even giving your organization a good reputation. How are you going to deal with that?
Okay. Okay, thank you. So, okay. Yes. Okay, so let me quickly answer that. Again, I'm talking to us as HR. You see, HR professionals, one of the things we need more is persuasion skills and data-driven presentation to management. You see, some of us, immediately we come to a program like this, we'll just pick it the way it is. It is that we'll go and meet our management. Yes, I'm just coming from an HR presentation. They told us that we work-life balance and all these things. You see, there is a way management will look at you and say, are you serious at all? What you have to do your own, apart from this lecture, you have to now go back. Number one, you know, that was what I was saying. You have to look at the kind of operation your organization is running. Is it that organization that can run that kind of model? Okay, if your organization operation cannot accommodate that model, what model do you think will be preferred? And by the time you are moving to management, you have to present it, not as if they did not do it. You know, again, HR, we always go to management and we begin to threaten management. And that is why most of our proposition, they will just throw it aside. You don't come from that angle that if you do not do it, you do it. No, 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 no. You let them see that, look, appreciate them for what they have been doing. But you believe that, sir, if we had one or two things, I guess we'll be able to do this and this. We'll be able to achieve this and this, and we'll be able to retain our staff. Management from that perspective may want to consider it. So it's not something that because I just say it in presentation. I'm saying this because at the start of my career, about 16, 17 years ago, I had that mindset. Any HR training I went to, the next thing I moved to my organization and begin to make noise. They look at me, they say, you are not serious. So it was when I began to climb the career ladder, and I begin to understand the way management think. Management will always take a decision with fact and figures. And that is where the HR data analytics that all of us have been clamoring for is coming. So if you want to sell that to them, don't use it, don't come in the angle of threatening them. That's even our organization. No, 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 no. I appreciate what you have on ground and tell them that, look, sir, again, don't go and be quoting foreign research. Don't, because that is the most of the mistake we do as HR. I'm saying this to us so that let's get it. HR, you begin to quote, you don't need it. You are in Nigeria. So bring practical Nigerian example and set. And that was the reason, if you notice me, all the company I say we should be mentioning, I say mention Nigerian company. So that don't go and be mentioning a company in Britain. Your management would think that you're not, but by the time you're able to tell them this, they see reason in it. And gradually, it may not be immediate again. So let me give that, let me send that note of warning. But gradually, you make your proposition, you back it up with data. A day will come they will see reason in it, and they may give you go ahead to implement it. So that is just my own honest feedback. I don't know if my answer meets your expectation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
You are welcome. Okay. Jonathan, your question. Hello.
Hello, thank you very much for the presentation and the seminar. I just want to ask mostly on the innovation you talk about. There are several times that HR come up with some innovation and management still say, no, they are not ready for this, say that it should just keep it in pipeline. So I'm asking, in what way, as an HR practitioner, what way can we go about management buying into the innovation, even though we give them similar industries are doing the same thing in order to retain our staff, but they still feel no, the company is not yet, or the company has not attained that stage. So what way can HR practitioner go about achieving that with the help of the management?
Thank you very much. So again, you know, Mr. Tokwe, I guess I've shared this with you sometimes during COVID, right? Do you know the issue of this work-life balance, hybrid, is something that HR we have been pushing for the last 10 years, right?
Yeah.
But we are pushing it at that particular point in time. Honestly speaking, people have not seen the need for it as at that time. So anytime we come back from HR conferences, we'll come and tell our management that there is a work-life balance, work-life this. Therefore, can we have this? So they did not answer us at that time. But COVID came. So when COVID came, what happened? They were able to see the reason in what we were saying. So at times, you have to understand there is what we call organization curve, organization growth curve. You must understand in which curve is your organization in terms of the growth ladder. So there are some innovation truly, and that is where HR have to put on when we talk about our business partner. You know, all these terms, we always use it to confuse ourselves. HR business partner. What is HR business partner? It's not to put it on your LinkedIn. HR business partner is you must even understand that business. So truly, there are some innovations that are good, but at that time, your organization may not be matured for it. I'll give you a practical example in Nigeria today. We are talking about cashless. Cashless is good, but the infrastructure that we need in the rural area to drive cashless is not there.
One more bottle.
And that is what really make the policies to be seems like, oh, it's a useless policy. So at times, most of all these innovations are good, but were you able to look at that innovation and pair it in the kind of your organization growth ladder and see if this organization is ready for that innovation? That is one. Two, don't forget some industries are highly regulated. So if you work in an industry that is highly regulated, there are some innovation that even though if you have it, they won't want to take it from you because they know that they are still subject to external regulators. And the third thing I always say, which is the same thing I talked to the first speaker, is, see, we HR, and that is why I always love to be in HR community, so that let's tell ourselves the truth. HR, we are full of some apologies, but let me say it so that we learn. We are full of grammars. You know, that was why I was breaking it down. It's because you attended a conference, they say talent management, talent attraction. What is talent management? What is talent attraction? The local person you are talking to, your organization, does not even understand what talent attraction is. So you are confusing that proposal you put forward. Why can't you use that simple terms that they understand, recruitment and selection? So that when we now come back to our HR gathering, we now begin to use that boost word, talent attraction. That we don't need that in organization, because it is only you that attended that HR conference. Your management did not attend that HR conference. So you are not going back because Mr. Temitope has given you that boost word, diversity and inclusion. The man did not understand what diversity and inclusion means. So by the time you are going back and preach diversity and inclusion, you have to look at a word that is it that, oh, when we talk about diversity and inclusion, sir, we are talking about how can we recruit more women. So be specific, don't just go and be using. And so I guess these are the things. I'm saying this because this is one of the things I faced when I started my HR career. I talk so much grammar. At the end of it, I confuse management. So it is then, because by the time you submit a proposal to them, you are now putting all those buzzwords: talent management, talent attraction, talent. If they ask you today, you are telling me, yeah, you are a culture transformation team. You are confusing management. Come down to their level. That, oh, what we want to achieve is that we want people to be happy working with us. But you are not using that big word because you have come to HR conference. You are not using that word, I'm a culture transformation agent. Your manager doesn't understand it. So for your proposal, for that innovation to fly, it may be difficult. So I'm saying this, and I'm appealing to us as HR. When we come to this our gathering, we can be using those boost words. But when we want to appeal to management, come down to their level, set local example, and understand the business dynamic of your industry. Most of all these things, gradually they will begin to see sense in it. I've been speaking with top management, and this is the feedback they are giving us, that HR, we are too big with grammar. So I hope that answers it. So if the organization did not take your innovation right now, that does not mean you are wrong. But maybe the growth period it may not be time. But again, once you persuade them, by the time, because again, one thing with HR is that you are saying, I've done my best. No, you must keep on coming, gradually. At every forum that you have to engage with management, you keep on saying it. A day will come, there's okay, let's implement this and let's see how it goes. So that is how, that perspective I want us as HR to be engaging management. Don't go and be engaging management with big grammars. Thank you. I hope that answers your question.
That's awesome, Mr. Oluremi. So I will quickly add to that. Can you hear me?
Yes. Go on, sir.
Give it to you. So there are some things you as an HR, you should not be far away from the reality in your organization. So you should know what is happening, and you can only achieve that by building, good relationship with some key stakeholders, like your finance, your other management team members. You know those who are key in your organizations. So you must not be far from the reality in that place. In a situation whereby you feel maybe you are pushing for employee value proposition, of course, everything in HR is capital intensive, or is going to require funds for you to be able to achieve anything. So the project you want your organization to, venture into, can they finance it at that time? Okay, if they can't finance it, there's no point putting it out. Or you can as well put it out, just mention it, and state the fact that you understand. I'm not talking about at the management level now. You understand that at this time, the management might not be able to achieve this, but you know, this is what I think we should do, and these are the outcome that we're likely going to, you know, get if we do it. Number two is that you cannot get too personal about issues that pertains to your organization. So you can't say because you brought in an idea and that idea was not embraced, and you will now no longer say whatever or you need to say. You will be shooting yourself at the leg. You will be doing yourself a very big harm. So that takes me back to what Mr. Oluremi said when you mentioned the issue of work-life balance, remote work, which became very popular during COVID-19. So a lot of HR became very relevant during that time, not because they were HR, but because they've shown some kind of capabilities, and they've communicated some sort of relevance and competency, right, before COVID. So everything that they have been proposing, and again, how do you make your proposition? Which I will round up with that almost everything they've been proposing and putting under the table became all of a sudden the solution, the way forward at that time, because there was no time to start coming up with strategies here and there. So the HR became the go-to person in the organization, and that is just how it works. So you can't say because, oh, you brought in one ideas, proposition, it was not taken, you now saw what is relevant, what is profitable for the organization, and you won't bring it up. Again, how do you make your case? How do you make a case? How do you make a case for your argument? How do you bring on your proposition? How do you support it? You need presentation skill. You need ability to be able to make, qualitative and quantitative research to support what you are saying. So if you must bring up an idea that is your idea going to take money from the management or from the company, or is it going to bring in revenue? It's not just to make employee happy. How do you tie your employee value propositions to performance improvement, to performance enhancement, to what is employee branding? What is branding for management? Why should they invest in CSR? What are the benefits? You must be able to break those big grammars, into understandable terms, in terms of Naira and Kobo, and speak to the needs and the strategies of your organization. So I don't think there's any other question. And again, so I said I was going to talk about that last at the end. How do you make your value proposition? How do you make your presentation in the organization? It is not news that a lot of time, even when what you are saying is the right thing, there are some individuals within the organization or within the management team that would not want to see your idea thrive. It is natural, it is normal. So that you should know who are those kind of people and how do you break into them? Who are those people giving you issues? So you need to, you don't have to, it's not about fights. It's not about, that this person tackle your initiative or your strategies or your value proposition. Doesn't mean that person is your enemy rather. So you might just need to build a very strong relationship with that person, make the person very, very relevant. Maybe before you make your presentation, before you get into the meeting, you can meet up with the person and say, oh, this is what I'm thinking. People just want to get carried along, right? So everybody wants to be made feel very, very important. And as a child, if you have to achieve anything, you just have to boost some people's ego, right? Do the right thing, but at the same time, without compromising any value, any standard. But at the same time, you have to build relationship. You need to work, you need to collaborate with other key stakeholders within the organization. So before you go to the meeting to go and make such presentations, you may need to meet with them first, show them the blueprint, what you're about to talk about, and the people that will ordinarily, antagonize you are the people that will be nodding their head. And, once the MD, the key decision makers, are seeing that people within the team are agreeing with what you are saying, right? It becomes very, very easy for your ideas to be embraced. I know how bad it is when you bring up an idea and people keep rejecting you and all of that. It's just like a man. So let me say this. It's like a man who is wooing a woman, and the woman is saying, "Oh, leave me," or "I'm not," or it's not giving you green lights. So, and you love this woman so much, will you say because the woman is, you keep trying? So you need to know what exactly the woman wants, right? Then get into her. So I hope that has helped your question, Akorede. All right. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much, Mr. John Oluremi.